Hi, everybody. I'm Bryan Mudd, a fan of South Plains politics. Here's your talking points for this week. Did Joe Biden really say something to take Texas out of play for him? Some say so. Hear what he has to say. And local pastors trying to make sure all our communities get out and do their civic duty on Election Day.
From the studios of KAMC Television in Lubbock, your local election headquarters. This is Talking Points with Bryan Mudd.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Also this week, voter enthusiasm. Candidates always use certain issues to get people fired up to vote, but more than ever, this election cycle seems to hinge more on candidate personality, almost a style over substance argument. That, to me, makes Texas harder to handicap this time around, especially with the lessons we learned about polling before Election Day 2016. Joe Biden's campaign sent some surrogates into Lubbock on a bus tour to try and rally Democrats. Several showed up. It was nice. But it's hard to top the enthusiasm of Trump voters here and everywhere. And maybe that's enough to get it done for the president. Here's KAMC's Amy Kazera with a look at that enthusiasm up close.
It's definitely a fun and unique experience. I love to see our community come together for a unified cause and purpose.
A lot of people that couldn't make it to the first one wanted to do another one.
What started as an idea among friends quickly turned into a major rally.
It's actually a friend of mine's idea. He had a crazy idea. We wanted to go out and cruise the Lubbock Loop with some Trump flags, and we just took it from there. We were like, well, let's make this thing huge, and we reached out to as many people as we could, and the response we got was amazing. So we contacted Cooks to ask if we could have it here, and things just escalated from there.
And with election season in full swing, local leaders like Congressman Jody Arrington came to speak at the event as well.
Have I convinced y'all that we need a guy that's actually going to step up to the plate, fight for the country, and do what he said he's going to do?
Many attendees say they're proud to be a part of history, voicing why they support Trump's re-election.
Come support Trump. So definitely, I think he's reaching voters here in West Texas that he probably didn't have back in 2016.
People want to label us as a bunch of white supremacists and stuff. It's not true. We love our country. We love our God. We love our law enforcement. You know, and there's some bad apples in law enforcement. There's bad apples everywhere. You can love him or hate him, but I love him and my family does.
Amy Kazera, KAMC News.
All right, Amy, thank you. Let's talk about this election from more of a statewide perspective and bring in the one and only Scott Braddock, editor of the popular Quorum Report. Scott, we hear a lot about epic early voting turnout all over the state, but, Texas doesn't break out the numbers by parties so much. Any talk of which side might have an advantage with that?
It depends on who you ask right now. Everybody's looking at a little bit different data. I was listening to an interview with Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who was arguing that Republicans are ahead slightly right now. That certainly wasn't the case at the beginning of early voting, when at least through the first couple of weeks of early voting, it looked like the Democrats probably had a pretty good advantage. They were very excited, and the Democratic voting seemed to be front-loaded. Those were folks who have been waiting to vote not just for months, but for years. And they were especially excited to see a whole extra week of early voting to be able to do that. I would expect that Republicans will be able to make up some of that ground between now and Election Day. I would say this to temper the expectations of some Democrats. There are still more Republican voters in Texas than there are Democratic voters. That's true until it's not, right? We may wake up on Wednesday and see something different.
Oh, definitely sure. Now, you mentioned the Lieutenant Governor. He said this week the only way Republicans and the president lose this is if the Democrats cheat. Now, is he setting up a fight for Wednesday if and then we don't have a presidential winner on Tuesday night?
It's possible that we don't know who the winner of the presidential election is on Tuesday night and even into Wednesday and maybe beyond that. I would like to say, and I think others have tried to set this expectation responsibly, is if we don't know the outcome, that doesn't mean that there's some shenanigans going on, that somebody's trying to cheat. It's just like, it's like a lot of the other things in life. If you want it done right, sometimes it takes a little while. People in Texas are mailing in those ballots as much as in some other places. People here choosing to take advantage of the in-person early voting instead. I would expect that here in Texas, we will know our results Tuesday evening, certainly by Wednesday morning. And of course, that would be from the presidency down to U.S. Senate, down to congressional races, Texas House races, et cetera. We should have a pretty good handle on what's happened, at least in our state, by Wednesday.
Boy, oh boy, it seems like a ton of money is being put into these legislative races around the state. Lubbock Representative Dustin Burrows among those walking blocks for Republican candidates up in Tarrant County recently. How puckered are the state House Republicans about some of these tight House races?
They are very concerned, and I would say right now it's fair to make the assessment that it's a coin flip as far as whether the Texas House is going to flip over to Democratic control. The Democrats have seen a lot of money come in, not just for the candidates who have record amounts of cash in their campaign accounts, but also these third-party groups. I'm sure you've covered this group called Forward Majority, which has put they first announced a $6 million investment to try to flip legislative seats in Texas. Just recently, they upped that to $12 million. And when you take a gander at what the Republicans have done over the last month or so, they've really shown up with a lot of cash. Texans for Lawsuit Reform is the prime example. TLR, I like to say, is shorthand for key players in the business community in Texas. Over the last month, they have spent about $11 million backstopping those candidates for the Texas House, trying to retain a Republican majority. That's a huge amount and just about wipes out the cash advantage that the Democrats have had in some of these races. So it may come right down to the wire, and it looks like the people who invest in politics do understand that.
Assuming the House stays Republican now, we watched them preach for state control instead of local control last session. If we see a Biden administration in D.C., how much of the next legislative session, at least in the Senate side, could be about pushing for more states' rights issues and pushing against federal control?
It could absolutely be that, and I know that some of the Republican consultant class in Texas is counting on that for the next legislative session. You get to the 2022 elections, which you could see some backlash to a Democratic administration, similar to what you saw in Texas when President Obama was in office. As far as legislation, it would be difficult to get a Republican Senate and a Democratic House to agree on legislation to send to the governor, for his signature, that would be pushing back on Washington. And in some ways, it would be kind of ironic that we would probably have Washington-style gridlock, is the way some folks would describe it.
As we speak right now, the dam has broken and people have started throwing their hats in a ring to be the next House Speaker. One of those so far, at least, not for Price, who said recently he's not going to do it. This region we're in here needs someone to fight for it in Austin. Is there anyone that might provide some hope for that in the next session?
I don't see any candidates who are West Texas, Lubbock candidates who are moving toward a leadership position in the House just yet. They're still sort of circling each other. This is such an uncertain time, not just for y'all out there in Lubbock, but also around the state, people looking at what's going to happen in state government. We haven't had this in modern times when we don't know exactly who the next speaker might be, and we don't even know exactly which party might be in control of the majority in the House. That's what we haven't seen before.
Crazy to think about here. Final seconds. We haven't even got into the U.S. Senate race and everything else.
Yeah, right.
Big surprise. What would be the biggest surprise for you to come out of Tuesday night?
Big surprises. Everything is so uncertain, and I do get asked this question a lot. I'm going to wake up on Wednesday, and I'm not sure I would be surprised by anything, really. We have, so many new voters, so many new combatants in the process. At Quorum Report, we like to say that people are either civilians or combatants when it comes to politics, and no one has converted more people into combatants than President Trump. In the suburban parts of Texas, I would expect to see, Democrats doing pretty well, especially in those counties like Collin County, Denton County, Fort Bend County. And then I think the Metroplex is where you're really going to look to for the road to the majority for the Democrats in the Texas House. On the U.S. Senate, I do think that Senator Cornyn is probably positioned probably even better than President Trump to win statewide in Texas. But if you look at the fact that in 2018, you did have 500,000 people voted for both Beto O'Rourke and Greg Abbott, you could well see some Republicans crossing over, voting for Joe Biden and then voting for Senator Cornyn. And of course, without straight ticket voting as an option this year, it's even more likely for that kind of thing to happen.
Certainly could, and I don't even know if anything's likely to happen. It's just craziness here as we go into Tuesday. It'll be fun to watch for sure. QuorumReport.com is where to find him, and he is the News Daily on Twitter. Go find Scott Braddock. We sure appreciate you taking a few moments for us. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, Brian.